Nebraska's 49 state senators head back to the office Thursday for the start of a special session called by the governor.
In today's public forum at UNO, 200 people addressed the concerns with his plan to fix property taxes. Arbella Caracta takes us there.
They started with 150 chairs. That wasn't enough.
Why should the young and the landless poor subsidize the ranches and estates of a geriatric gentry?
Each person got about 2 minutes to share their thoughts on property tax reform and Governor Jim Pillen's plan. 7 state senators called 2 town halls, one in Omaha and one in Lincoln, after Pillen left the 2 cities out of his property tax tour of the state. Many people took issue with the state fully funding public schools in lieu of local governments. State Senator Merv Riepe of Ralston is also concerned about that key element.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. So I think when you're talking about taking over all of the schools, we have 244 school districts. You better be real careful about how you do it.
Most in the room could agree. They're not a fan of paying high property taxes.
What you're doing by keeping property taxes is making home ownership illegal.
Ideas to address it, however, varied. Mayor Gene Stothart's team has reservations.
We have a healthy cash reserve and a favorable bond rating. All of this could be jeopardized with a 0% hard cap.
Same for Douglas County commissioners.
Unfunded, underfunded, and tax shifts are really what hurt our county budget. And as county, we only have property taxes to fulfill our obligation.
There's going to be a lot of controversy. There's going to be multiple bills that will be introduced, and we'll just have to wait and see.
On your side in Omaha, Bella Caracta, 6 News.
Another town hall is set to take place in Lincoln tomorrow. The special session gets underway on Thursday.
An update now.